of champions of the American Football League. In the era of the 70s, Buffalo fans thrilled to the exploits of the Juice. The team has been down, but now it's 1988, and the Bills are back. Tonight, the Bills return to glory. We'll look back at Buffalo's AFL championship years, the resurgence of the franchise, and the hopes for a January 22nd reservation in Miami for Super Bowl 23.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our program, Return to Glory, as we feature some of the great teams in Buffalo Bills history. And here joining us on our panel is the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, Mr. Bill Polian, Larry Felger, the sports editor and columnist from the Buffalo News, and former Buffalo Bills great tight end Ernie Warlick, who wears that championship ring from back in the mid-'60s. Also with us, many members of the Buffalo Bills Booster Club, and welcome to our program. And out there in the audience with them, the assistant sports director at Channel 7, Bob Kuczynski. Bob?
Thanks very much, Rick. The Buffalo Bills were founded in 1960. And then in 1963, under Coach Lou Saban, began their playoff history with a lopsided defeat to the then Boston Patriots. But it was soon after that that the glory days would begin. In 1964, the Buffalo Bills rolled to a 12-2 record. Much like the team of 1988, their trademark was defense.
Every time, Bob, there was a fumble or something happened, the ball squirted or this and that, the offensive team automatically put their helmets on because we knew we'd come up with the ball. That's how much confidence we had on the defense. And sure, the defense got us the ball, and we had to, it's sort of like a thing you have in this season here, you know, they're giving out the defense all the credit in the world, which is fine, you know, as long as you win. That's the bottom line.
After suffering a disappointing loss to the Patriots in their first playoff game the year before, the Bills now face the high-powered San Diego Chargers at War Memorial Stadium for the AFL Championship. The Chargers took a 7-0 lead on a 4-play, 80-yard drive. But that would be all they could muster against a fired-up Buffalo defense. On San Diego's second possession, Mike Stratton made his now famous hit on Charger star Keith Lincoln, knocking the All-Pro out of the ballgame. It was all Buffalo from there, as fullback Cookie Gilchrist rushed for 122 yards. Pete Kogelak would kick a pair of field goals, and quarterback Jack Kemp hit Glenn Bass for 47 yards to set up a Kemp sneak into the end zone. The final, 20-7 Buffalo. The Bills now league champs and at the top of their game. In 1965, the Bills came back with a 10-3-1 record, and again would meet the Chargers in the championship contest. Only this time, no one was giving the Bills a chance against John Hadle, Lance Allworth, and company. However, Buffalo's defense would shut out the vaunted Charger passing game. And a pair of second-quarter touchdowns put Buffalo comfortably in the lead at halftime. The Bills went on to win it 23-0. Jack Kemp was named the game's MVP and still has vivid memories of those years.
Well, it's something you can never forget. Having won a championship and then another championship back-to-back against the Chargers was the highlight of my pro football career, 13 years. The impact on Buffalo, I think everybody remembers it. I think they put it kind of in the older days, were looked upon as probably fossils.
In '65, the Bills once again owned the AFL Championship. And one could only wonder how that team would have fared against the NFL's finest.
I'm not going to sit here and say we would have beat the Green Bay Packers because they were a legend at the time. But I really feel deep down in here again, the Buffalo Bills would have come out with something, and they'd have played them a great football game. As I say, I don't know if we'd beat them, this and that, but I'm sure our defensive players could have stuck with them and played them. And it may have been a different game. Then again, it wasn't. I'm very sorry we missed it. That's the only big thrill I never got in my life to play in the Super Bowl.
In 1966, with the league merger and the first Super Bowl contest at stake, the Bills indeed had a chance to see how they could match up against the NFL. But in the championship game against Len Dawson and the Kansas City Chiefs, the Bills would fold, dropping a 31-7 decision and chasing running back Mike Garrett for most of the afternoon. An era had come to an end. In 1974, the Bills were 9-5 and played the Pittsburgh Steelers in the opening round of the playoffs. The team relied heavily on one man, O.J. Simpson.
Well, I think they respected O.J., and they knew that if they did something, or they did their part, that O.J. would do his part. They had a tremendous chemistry, and they had a lot of belief in each other.
Joe Ferguson, O.J. Simpson, Reggie McKenzie, Joe DeLamalure, Donnie Green, Dave Foley. Yeah, that was a team. We didn't have much of a defense, really a no-name defense. We didn't play very well on defense, and we'd have to outscore somebody, and if they shut down O.J. and Joe, the game was over.
But on that cold afternoon in Pittsburgh against the Steelers, it would be tight end Paul Seymour hauling in a touchdown pass from Joe Ferguson for a quick 7-0 Buffalo lead. However, the Steelers were on their way to their first Super Bowl crown and went on to hammer the Bills and O.J. Simpson 32-14. 6 years later, under coach Chuck Knox, Buffalo went 11-5, won the AFC East Championship, and earned the right to meet San Diego and Dan Fouts in the playoffs. However, quarterback Joe Ferguson had a severely sprained ankle.
It was severe. I mean, if it would have been, he probably would have been out for 4 to 6 weeks, and like Jimmy Kelly did prior to the season, very similar. But you know, Joe said, "Hey, tape it up, do what you got to do, and we're going to try to play," and he did.
An injured Ferguson led the Bills to a 14-3 halftime lead. Then, holding on to a 14-13 advantage with a little over 2 minutes remaining in the contest, the roof caved in. Fouts hit unknown Ron Smith with a 50-yard scoring pass, and the Chargers won the game 20-14. In 1981, the Bills were one of 2 wild-card teams, knocking off the Jets 31-27 in the opening game, thanks in part to a Bill Simpson interception on the final play of the contest. Buffalo had rolled up a 24-0 lead and barely held on for the victory. Game 2 was at Cincinnati, and after overcoming a quick 14-0 deficit, the Bills dropped the 28-21 decision. A controversial third-down conversion pass to Lou Picone wiped out on a delay-of-game penalty, and that would stall the Bills' final hope for victory. Again, the team was knocked out of the playoffs, and Fred Smerlas feels that club lacked what the '88 Bills now possess.
This team has overall more talent than that team had. I think we're a stronger, bigger, stronger team, and I think just we're a little bit more poised than that team was. And you know, overall, I think this team was more talented and more poised.
It's now been 7 years since the Bills visited the playoffs, and maybe 1988 will go down in Bills history as a return to glory. Now, I'm sure many of you are sitting at home saying, well, I remember that game or that big play from 64, 65, or whatever. Well, hopefully Sunday's game will provide Bills fans with some winning plays to remember for years to come. Rick?
Thanks very much, Bob. And we're going to be back to talk with Ernie Warlick and Larry Felger and Bill Polian about some of those great teams of the past. That coming up right after this.
As far as preparation goes, and as far as the way I look at the game, it's no different than any other. I'm going to play with everything I have, and then when I come in the locker room, I just have to leave it all on the field, and then that's all I can do is just play your best you can and give everything you have and see what happens.
This sedan offers a refreshing blend of form and function. And if you like its form, wait until you experience its function. Ford Tempo. A more sophisticated way to express your driving ambition.
Now get a $600 cash bonus on a Ford 89 Tempo through January 4th.
After 20 years outside in the weather, there's nothing Tom Joles hasn't experienced. But even bad weather seems good when it comes from Western New York's most experienced weatherman.
It does make for great snowballs.
Because with Tom Joles, AccuWeather isn't just a forecast.
Sunshine around Western New York.
It's an experience.
Looks like rain through tomorrow.
You are right about that. Okay, line up 2 by 2 and no smoking.
Tom Joles and AccuWeather. The experience shows.
Oh, I don't like the looks of this.
Welcome back to our program. I'm going to start off the questioning here and a little discussion with Ernie Warlick as we watch those old films. Ernie, do you still remember I'm sure you do. What do you remember about that touchdown catch you made in that 1965 game in San Diego?
Well, I remember being told at the beginning of before we went on the field that I would start that game. If you recall, I was not starting at that time.
Right.
I'd been benched.
You want to tell us why?
Well,
no.
I have no idea why, but they felt the need to bench me. So, you know, you got to get your game face on to play this game.
Right.
I was told just before we went on the field to start the game that you're starting and we're going to play a double tight end formation.
Wow.
So now I got to get fired up to get out there. So.
So all you did was catch a touchdown pass to get
right.
We heard Al B. Miller say something. We would have come up with something. That double tight end situation was pretty unique and innovative at the time, wasn't it, Larry?
It was, and that was just one of the things. Joe Kyer was a defensive coordinator then, and he in that game dropped Ron McDowell, weighed 280 pounds, off the line of scrimmage, and used him as a linebacker. This is 5 or 6 years before Miami used their famous 53, which is essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm. What made this team unique? You guys that played on that team 23 years ago are still friends, aren't you, Ernie?
Well, we sure are. And I think that, first of all, we had the horses. You know, you got to have, in order to win races, you got to have horses. I think we had, as B. Miller said, we had an awesome defense. We had Cookie Gilchrist as a fullback, and I can remember him saying on all tackle play, Ernie, you better move out of the way because I'm coming. And what that meant is if you didn't move, he was going to run right over you and everybody else. But I think the big thing about that team was family. We were really family. In spite of all the problems, social problems and everything else, we were a closely knit team. We had our problems, we had our little spats, but when it came time to play, we were ready.
That's a very important ingredient for a championship team, isn't it?
I think it is. I believe it is. I think Bill Russell was the guy that made that statement that you gotta be family if you're going to be a championship team.
All right, let's go to the 1974 year when the Bills got into the playoffs, and we've got a bit of a special surprise for you. We have live via satellite Ahmad Rashad, who played on that championship team, not a championship, but the playoff team of 1974. Ahmad is now a broadcaster with NBC. Ahmad, can you hear me out there in L.A.?
Yeah, I can hear you on the phone here. We got a great connection.
All right, okay. Ahmad, tell me about that 74 team. You guys were really building at the time. You had people like O.J. Simpson, yourself, Bobby Chandler, Joe Fair, a lot of quality players, but you got to a certain level and then it stopped. What happened?
I think that that year we had possibly the best offense in football. We could score on anybody. It's just that we couldn't keep anybody out of the end zone, and that was fine during the course of the year. But once it got down to playoff time, you really have to have a well-rounded team, or at least lead with your defense in order to be successful in the playoffs. And we could not lead with our defense, and that's why we lost to Pittsburgh in that first round of the playoffs.
Ahmad, this is Larry Felser. Let me throw a what-if question at you. What if you had that offense, that 74 offense, and you've seen this year's team, Buffalo team, if you had this defense to go with it, how far could you have gone?
Hey, Larry, we could beat any team in football if we had Buffalo's defense now with our offense in 1974, because I think Buffalo's defense right now is one of the better teams in football. Matter of fact, I think they're probably responsible for the record that Buffalo had this year, because they certainly are a dominating defense with guys like Bruce Smith and Fred Smerlas and Bennett and Conlon. They have it really going on the defensive side of the football.
Ahmad, when you look back to that team, you mentioned the fact that you didn't have the defense. Ernie Warlick just talked about a camaraderie that was an essential part of winning football teams. You guys had it too, didn't you?
We really did. When I look back on my career, I don't think that I enjoyed or really had the team feeling that you got to have to be a winning football team any more than I had in Buffalo in '74. We really had something going, and we knew it. And Buffalo was so conducive to that feeling. The people were behind us. We felt like if we ever got anybody there at Rich Stadium, we could beat anybody. And it, you know, as I played in a lot of different cities during my career, I thought Buffalo was the best place to have that sort of a feeling for a football team, because everybody pulls together and the town really gets behind the football team.
All right, very quickly, this is sort of out of sequence, but I'd like you to talk about this present team and how you view it in the present playoffs.
Well, you know what? All season long, people knew that Buffalo had a good football team, and the thing that amazed me that they were able to have the record that they had with not ever having a very good offensive day. The defense has really carried them, but you know, and a lot of people throw rocks at Jim Kelly saying, well, he really hasn't had the year that he possibly should have. But for a quarterback, his job is to win, and that's exactly what they've done. I think the problem that they run into now is in the playoffs, the clock goes a little bit faster. You have to have some offense to win the game. You can go in there with a good defense. That'll keep you in contention. But if your offense can't come up, make the big plays right away, then you got a problem. So that's what they face going into the game this weekend. Jim Kelly's got to have a big day. He's got to turn that offense on.
Okay, thank you very much, Ahmad. Lots of good luck to you, and it's nice to talk to you again.
Hey, I'll see you this weekend.
Okay, pal.
All right.
Take care.
All right.
Ahmad Rashad, our guest from Los Angeles, and we'll take that subject up that he brought up just now with Bill Polian a little bit later on in the program. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Yeah, you know, take a different approach to this game, I think, you know, as far as mental preparation is concerned. But, you know, I'm one of those guys that doesn't have to get psyched up because, you know, each game is a special game to me. So, it's, you know, it's a big game to all of us.
The city of Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills, sharing in defeat, experiencing rebirth together. Join Channel 7 for a special look at unusual parallels between the rebirth of Buffalo and the resurgence of the Buffalo Bills. Watch City of Champions, Friday at 7 on Channel 7.
Hi, I'm Lucy Mathis, stationed at Yokota Air Base, Japan. I'd like to send warm greetings to the Selvas back in North Tonawanda, New York. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Wishing we could be together this year. Say hello to Grandma, Angie. Say hi, Grandma.
Again this year, from our servicemen and women overseas, Channel 7 brings the spirit of Christmas and the holiday season home to all of us in Western New York.
For about 70 cents, you can buy a can of soda. In Ethiopia, you can feed a child like Jamal for just 70 cents a day. For about 70 cents, you can buy a pack of gum. Or for 70 cents a day, you could help a child like Maria receive an operation to restore her sight. For 50 years, Christian Children's Fund has helped children of many faiths with food, medical care, clothing, and a chance to go to school.
Today, so many children around the world still need your help. And through Christian Children's Fund, you can reach out to one of them by sharing, well, just a little of your pocket change. It takes so little for you to become a special friend to a child in a developing country. Sponsorship is just $21 a month. That breaks down to 70 cents a day. So why don't you call now? There's truly no obligation.
Please call for information now. With just 70 cents a day, you can change the life of a child forever.
Welcome back to our program, and we're going to move along now to the present time, close to the present time, and I'm going to direct these questions to Bill Polian, the Bills general manager. Bill, we saw this team in 64, 65, got to the championship game in 66, and it stopped. We got to 74, almost made it in 75, and it stopped. Then we get to 80 and 81, and it stopped. And now you're in the process of rebuilding once again. I don't want to say the word stop, okay? I mean, as opposed to teams like the Dallas that gone on winning, Pittsburgh won for a long, long time, San Francisco's won for a long, things like that.
It's a difficult task. On the one hand, you've got the emotional side of it. And for a team like ours that's brand new and very young, theoretically you ought to have a pretty long run. But emotions enter into it. On the other hand, the system, the draft, the scheduling system, which didn't exist back in the 70s, mitigates against you winning. It handicaps you very severely. And the third thing is that when you're in the playoffs, your season goes on for a long time, and that's debilitating for the players. It's hard to come back the following year with the same kind of intensity and sometimes even the same kind of physical intensity because you haven't had that long to rehabilitate. So it's a big challenge. We saw this year the Redskins have a tough year. The Browns got to the doorstep 2 years in a row and then regressed this year, largely due to injuries. But it's a big challenge to stay there. That's Coach Lombardi said the biggest challenge is not in winning the first time. The biggest challenge is in continuing to win. And from an organization standpoint, we sure think about that, and we're beginning to think about it even now.
Okay, thanks very much, Bill. And how did this rebuilding begin? When did it begin? Here's Mark Cooper.
Well, thanks a lot, Rick. Well, after that 1981 playoff season came the strike of 1982, and the Bills went 4-5. They rebounded with an 8-8 campaign the next season, but then came the collapse of 1984. But even during those bleak times, the seeds were being planted for the rebirth of the franchise. The resurgence of the Buffalo Bills began even while the team was mired in the depths of back-to-back 2-14 seasons in 1984 and 85. The Bills draft class of 85 formed much of the foundation for the current squad. The team took Bruce Smith with its #1 pick. Andre Reed, Chris Burkett, Derek Burrows, Dale Hellestray, Hal Garner, and Frank Reich also came to the Bills in that draft. Big tight end Pete Metzelaars came in a trade with Seattle, and the Bills signed a free agent kicker out of James Madison named Scott Norwood. At the conclusion of the 85 campaign, the Bills made Bill Polian their new general manager, and like a master architect, he set out immediately to build a champion. Polian went to the free agent well again in 86 to pick up 3 future starters, linebacker Ray Bentley, safety Mark Kelso, and Pro Bowl center-to-be Kent Hall. And in the summer of 86, Polian landed his prize catch.
Without further ado, it's my great privilege and pleasure to officially welcome and hand over, as I promised I would last Thursday, number 12 to the Buffalo Bills' new quarterback, Jim Kelly.
Under Kelly in 1986, the Bills doubled their win total from the previous season, winning 4 games. Following a midseason loss to Tampa Bay, Hank Bulla was fired as head coach, and Marv Levy took over the helm. The 87 draft netted 3 more future starters. The Bills used their first-round pick to take Shane Conlon, whom Penn State coach Joe Paterno called the greatest linebacker ever to play for the Nittany Lions. Cornerback Nate Odoms and fullback Jamie Mueller were other products of the 87 crop, as was Dr. Sack Leon Seals. In the middle of the 87 season, Polian pulled off another major coup. In a 3-way trade with Indianapolis and the LA Rams, the Bills brought in linebacker Cornelius Bennett. Bennett made an immediate impact in his first appearance against Denver, and suddenly the Bills' defense was a force to be reckoned with.
They were basically the final solution, and at the same time, it just fitted in right together. I think everybody accepted them well, and it seems like when we're out there playing with each other, it's one big giant family. And I think with the addition of those 2 ball players, as a whole, offense, defense, and special teams, we just put it all together, and that's how we're able to go out and play each Sunday.
Entering this season, there didn't appear to be much room for a rookie in the Bills' starting lineup, but Thurman Thomas made room. The Oklahoma State product quickly put to rest concerns about a knee injury suffered in his junior year. Polian continued putting the finishing touches on the 88 squad in June by picking up 4-time Pro Bowl defensive end Art Still in a trade with Kansas City. The wheeling and dealing continued even after the season was underway, when Polian traded with Phoenix to get safety Leonard Smith.
Well, Bill's done a great job putting this team together. The deal for Cornelius Bennett, you know, a lot of people said that's giving up too much, but when you get a player of Cornelius's talent and abilities and the type of person he is, looking back, it's a great deal. It's well worth the price they paid, and the same with Art and same with Leonard Smith. Things just, he's worked very hard and done a lot of research, and you know, he's picked up a couple of players where the team was, I guess, not happy with him for some reason or another, and it's been a great benefit
to us.
The Bills opened the 1988 campaign with 4 straight victories over Minnesota, Miami, New England, and Pittsburgh. Scott Norwood's Golden Toe provided the winning edge in the first 3 wins. After a 24-3 setback against the Bears in Chicago, Buffalo came back with a vengeance, winning its next 7 games in a row. The highlights of that streak were 2 Monday night victories over the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. The Bills played flawlessly in a 37-14 romp over the Jets in their first Monday night appearance since 1984. Kelly passed for 261 yards and 3 touchdowns in the rout. 4 weeks later, on a Monday night in Miami, Buffalo exploded for 21 unanswered points in the second half to crush the Dolphins 31-6. It marked the Bills' 4th consecutive win over Miami. And the following week, Buffalo clinched the AFC Eastern Division title with a gutsy 9-6 overtime win over the Jets, setting off a wild celebration at Rich Stadium. The Bills were headed back to the playoffs for the first time since 1981. Unfortunately, a rash of injuries hit the team just as the Bills headed into Riverfront Stadium to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Playing without 3 defensive starters, Buffalo gave up 455 yards to the high-powered Bengal offense and dropped a 35-21 decision. Buffalo dropped 2 of its last 3 regular season games as injuries continued to haunt the team. But the Bills finished the campaign with a 12-4 record, tying the franchise mark for victories in a season. And the fans came through as well, setting the all-time NFL attendance record.
And of course, the Bills were unbeaten in front of their home fans this year. They said the fans made the big difference in a lot of those wins, and they hope they'll make the difference again this week in Houston. Rick, against Houston.
Thanks very much, Mark, and we'll be back to talk to our panel, and we'll have some questions from the Buffalo Bills Booster Club members who are in attendance. That coming up in just a moment.
We played them before, you know, we played them here when we beat them, and because they were so overly aggressive, that's why we won the game. A lot of 15-yard penalties they got towards the end of the game hurt them. And, you know, I think our guys are really attuned to that. We're not going to try to intimidate, you know, or retaliate against them.
Will you marry me?
When 2 lovers woo.
How do you think it feels to be attracted to someone that makes you sick?
They should say, I love you.
I hate you.
But on this you can rely. Sam and Diane make sparks fly.
Another gripping episode of The Young and the Chestless.
Some things only get better as time goes by. Cheers. 5 times a week. Diane's back. Play it again, Sam.
Watch Cheers weekdays at 5:30 here on Channel 7.
Western New York has been hit by Bills fever. They become the area's hottest heroes, and all week at Eyewitness News, you'll meet more of your favorite Bills on their home turf. Jocelyn Mementa takes a candid, personal, off-the-field look at the guys who have become the season's AFC Eastern Division champions. Meet the Bills on their home turf, all this week at 6 on Eyewitness News.
I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside.
If you could help just one child, if you could change just one life, would you do it? Through Foster Parents Plan, you have the power to lift a child and family out of shocking poverty. And for so very little, you can help them have life-saving food and vaccines, clean water, schooling, and above all, hope. All it takes is $22 a month, just 72 cents a day. When you call, we'll send you your foster child's picture and personal story. Through regular progress reports, you'll see a life transformed, and you'll feel a part of it through personal notes and drawings. Help a needy child discover a truly great love. Your love. Thank you very much, and welcome back to our program. Larry, we had a chance to see all of you and I and Ernie remember all of those days. Napoleon said he was in the 8th grade back in whatever. But in looking back of the history of this franchise, Do you think it has ever been in a better position, health-wise, as far as an organization and things like that are concerned, than it is right now?
No, no. I can tell you one thing, it's one of the few times, I mean, this is normal for most sports teams too, that where there's some feuding and everybody's not on all the same page. This is one of the few times where the coach and the general manager are on the same page, and there's a great rapport there. And the feeling with the ownership being in Detroit and a certain power structure there is probably better than it's ever been. The relationships are better than they've ever been there before. It's much healthier than it's ever been before.
That, of course, is due to the man sitting on my right.
Absolutely, there's no question about it. Smiling Bill.
Bill, what about that? How important and how difficult a thing is that to accomplish? I know you had a lot of respect for Marv Levy. I can remember you talking to Larry and I about it, and we were sort of looking at you and saying, well, you're doing this because he's your pal, and not really because you think he's a great coach and so forth. How important is and how difficult is that to accomplish?
Well, I think everyone has to be on the same page, and that's what we set out to do right from the outset. And Mr. Wilson and Dave Olson, our executive vice president, who work in Detroit, made it clear that that's the way they wanted it too. We have open communication between the four of us. We talk very frequently. We gave Mr. Wilson a philosophy of how we felt the club should be operated, from personnel right through to the concessions. He signed off on it. He shares our belief in what needs to be done. And, you know, it's fine for the front office to do all that work, but ultimately it's the coaches and the players who get it done. And Marv has just done an absolutely miraculous job, he and his staff, in coaching this football team and accelerating their development. This is a young football team. If you take Art away and Freddie, we still may be the youngest football team in the league.
Even with him?
Well, we're still probably among the four youngest with him, but if you take them away, we're still the youngest team in the league. Marvin and his coaching staff have done just a super job getting them to where we are today.
Okay, thanks very much, Bill. We're going to go to Bob Kaczynski in the audience. Bob?
Yes, Rick, we have our first question tonight from a member of the Buffalo Bills Booster Club, and he is?
David Hormel from Clarence.
Go ahead, Dave.
I have a question to Larry Felser. Larry, you've covered the Bills since their inception in 1960. How would you compare the present team of 1988 with the championship team of 64-65?
Startling similarities. First, it's the defense. They had a very strong defense in the championship teams of the mid-'60s. They had a very charismatic quarterback then, just as they do now. Conservative offense was criticized by a lot of fans because it was too conservative, they thought. Terrific kicker, Pete Gogolek, Scott Norwood, and the coach. There were a lot of skeptics when Lou Saban was hired. There were a lot of skeptics when Marv Levy was hired. They were the perfect people for the Buffalo Bills of this era and that one. And it's amazing the number of similarities there are.
Ernie, do you find those same similarities?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Larry. I think, first of all, the defense, fabulous defense. Heck of a defense then, a heck of a defense now. The offense, the thing that I liked about our offensive line is if we had to hold the ball for 5 minutes or 6 minutes, hold it and maintain control of it, we could do it, and we felt confident we could do it. At the same time, we had a guy in the backfield that used to say, hey, we need 5 yards, we need 2 yards to maintain it. And Cookie says, well, give me the darn ball. Then it was more authority than that. But I think there's tremendous similarities.
Okay, thanks very much. Now to Mark Cooper. Mark?
Rick, I'm here with Mike Capella of West Seneca, and he has the question of the week for Bill Polian. Mike?
Which of the Bills that are injured are going to play on Sunday?
Bill?
Well, it's a little early in the week to have a complete answer on that, but I would think, Mike, that Art and Freddie will make it. Art Still and Fred Smirlis will likely make it. We got some good news today, which is that Shane Conlon probably is a little less than 50-50 for this game, but could likely play if we advance. And we didn't think that might be the case earlier in the week. And who knows, if Lady Luck smiles on us again, Shane might even make it. But we'll take 2 out of 3.
Those are pretty good odds. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about that particular subject and of course, what's coming up on Sunday against the Houston Oilers. We're going to have a scouting report, and we're going to have some more questions from the audience. All of that coming up in just a moment.
It's another season for me, and a lot of players are stressed that this is where you got to lay it out on the line a little bit more than you did in a regular season, because this is a chance to, get closer to that Super Bowl. And, Houston's right now is one of the teams that's playing well right now, and I'm sure they're not really worried about the weather or anything like that, because it has been cold in Cleveland, and I'm probably sure they probably think that they're used to it. And so I don't think the weather or anything is going to be a factor. So it just, whatever team executes the best is going to win the football game.
I'm Keith Radford. Coming up tonight on Eyewitness News Nightcast, Anthony Moore and an I-Team report from Orchard Park on one policeman's conduct concerning an accident.
What do I do?
Did Cheektowaga Town Councilman Thomas Johnson get special treatment from his police force? I'm David Collin, and tonight on Nightcast, I'll have his side of the story.
As Bill's fever sweeps through western New York, we'll meet one lady who's got her own shrine in honor of her favorite football team. Also, we'll take a look back at the final few months of '88. That's tonight on Nightcast.
This year, Channel 7 launched A Cry for Life, featuring the Someone's Child and Drug-Free America videos and concerts. This campaign quickly spread, reaching young people all across the country. Groups such as the National Commission for Drunk Driving and the White House singled out WKBW TV as a leader in the nation's fight against drug and alcohol abuse. This holiday season, Channel 7 asks you, consider the consequences. Please don't drink and drive.
I don't know how accurate scouting reports are, but they are certainly an essential part of this game, are they not, Bill? And you've been involved in them quite a bit, haven't you?
They sure are. They're a very, very important part of the game, Rick, and we spend an extensive amount of time, from Bob Ferguson, our pro personnel director, who goes out and live scouts our upcoming opponent, through the film analysis that the assistant coaches and the coordinators do, and then, of course, that Marv does himself, which is virtually all computerized now. Very different than the days when Ernie played.
Yeah, well, and it's a little different from the kind of scouting reports we do, too. We don't have any computers.
No, you got the computer up there.
Yeah, right. We have Mark Cooper, and here he is with the scouting report on the upcoming game between the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Oilers.
The Houston Oilers relish the reputation they've cultivated over the last 2 years. Jerry Glanville's team sees itself as an intimidating, hard-hitting, high-scoring collection of gunslingers who will win at any cost. That's not far from the truth.
They're just a good, hard, physical football team, and, they have a lot of weapons they can use. They have, maybe five or six running backs there that they can just throw anyone at you, and all of them are good, and then they have the wideouts, and plus Warren Moon's playing well. And look at the offensive line. You're talking about monsters. They're huge.
The Oilers bring the AFC's second-rated running attack into Rich Stadium Sunday. They had to face the Cleveland Browns without their top rusher, Mike Rozier, in the wild-card game. No matter, Alan Pinkett rushed for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lorenzo White carried 12 times and scored Houston's go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter. Alonzo Highsmith and Spencer Tillman are also available to run the ball, giving the Oilers an incredible collection of talent in the offensive backfield. Warren Moon finished the regular season as the third-rated passer in the conference. He also has a bevy of quality receivers led by 32-year-old veteran Drew Hill. Hill caught 72 passes for over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns in the regular season. Ernest Givens pulled down 60 more catches. Willie Drury, Curtis Duncan, and Haywood Jeffries are other targets for Moon's passes. Defensively, nobody in the AFC has stopped the run more effectively than the Oilers. Cleveland moved inside the Houston 20 3 times in the first half of last week's playoff game. The Oilers made the Browns settle for 3 field goals. Houston's players give no quarter to the Bills' vaunted defense.
Yeah, they got a good defense, but, we got some
we got some dogs that can hunt on our side of the ball too. So that's how we look at it. They got to stop us. You know, we're not going to change anything we're doing. And if they can play as good as they can play, they're going to have to come and show us.
Still, as versatile as the Oilers are on offense, they are well aware of the havoc Buffalo's defensive unit can wreak.
It's definitely one of the most talented defenses that we faced all year. We had a chance to see them in preseason, but that wasn't really a true picture because they didn't have all the starters in the whole game. But it's going to be a great challenge for our offense. We have a lot of confidence in our offense, and this is going to be definitely one of the biggest challenges we've had all year.
And we'll be back to talk about how the Houston Oilers and the Buffalo Bills match up for this Sunday's game. That coming up after this.
I'm sure you're going to see the same stuff that they've been doing, the late hits, the talking, you know, the cheap shots and all that, but they're going to have to play football, and that's what the game's all about. So, you know, we're not worried or scared about any of that. We're going to keep our poise and make them beat us on the field.
You grip the stick and hiss across the ice while frigid winds blast you full in the face. The sport is ice boating, and at speeds up to 60 miles an hour and temperatures down to 30 below. You don't take chances. You take Chapstick. Chapstick is heavy-duty lip balm, made for weather at its worst, made to go on smooth, to help lips stop chapping and start healing. Why trust your lips to anything less? Don't take chances. Take Chapstick.
Season's greetings from the Macaron family of RAF Lake in East England, too.
Everybody in Lancaster, New York, especially Mom, Dad, Mark,
Auntie Chris and Uncle Dave,
Eric and Brian, Elizabeth and Matthew,
Grandma and Grandpa Macaron and Grandma Staskowitz. To all, we miss you all and have a Merry Christmas.
From our servicemen and women overseas, Channel 7 brings the spirit of the Christmas season home to Western New York.
To succeed in this high-technology world takes education and training. If you're in school, stay in school. Take the hard subjects, mathematics, physics, the sciences. Work hard and graduate. Then find out what the Air Force has to offer. Training and education at the forefront of today's technology. The Air Force helps prepare young men and women to face the future and succeed. Aim high, Air Force.
Bill, we just saw what Mark Cooper did on comparing these two teams, especially a good look at the Houston Oilers. Coach Marv Levy told me earlier this week that he believed the Houston Oilers had the best personnel in the AFC. Now, you're going to take issue with your coach, or
No,
what?
he's right.
I didn't think you would.
I agree with it.
Tell me why.
Well, they're deep at every position, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. They go 4 and 5 deep in the backfield and at receiver. On the defensive side, they've got some outstanding players, and they're deep at every position. But we're a pretty good football team, too. And some of the fellows that you've seen on tape earlier here tonight, and I'm sure some of the others that we'll see during the course of the show, have risen to the challenge each time it's been presented during the year. And I'm confident that even though we're playing a good team, we're going to go out and acquit ourselves well. We got a great bunch of guys, too.
Ernie, you sort of faced the same kind of situation back in the championship years. The Buffalo Bills weren't considered to have the best personnel in the AFL at the time. As a matter of fact, San Diego was supposed to have better personnel and probably did. Kansas City was supposed to have better personnel, probably did. And yet the Buffalo Bills won 2 back-to-back championships.
That was because we wanted it. We really wanted to do it. The Patriots had beaten us before. Beat us here in Buffalo on that field that was covered with ice with the pink lines. I think it were
and
pink.
sawdust and everything
Sawdust and everything else. And they humiliated us.
Right.
So the next year we went to Boston and we played the playoff game in order to get to the championship game. And I got to tell you, I'll never forget that. I keep talking about Cookie, but I remember he ran over Chuck Shanta. You remember Chuck Shanta?
Sure.
Ran over him, knocked him out, and time was out, and Cookie pointed over to the other side and says, "You're next."
And he meant it, too.
He meant it. But, yeah, we rose to the challenge. I think that was it. We had been humiliated. We played together 2 years, and I think that was enough time to bring us to a jail, and we finally did it.
Ernie just brought up something, the tactics of Cookie Gilchrist. This intimidation business, Larry, has been talked an awful lot about, not so much by the players, but you and I and guys in the media and so forth, and the fans talk about this Oiler intimidation business. How much of a factor is it really?
I think intimidation works if Cookie Gilchrist is on your side, let me say that. But there aren't too many Cookie Gilchrists. He is the one and only. But I really don't think it works well against a team like Buffalo if they hold their poise. I mean, the Bills are a tough football team.
Mm-hmm.
There are teams that are not as tough as Buffalo, and it works against them. Houston's intimidation works against them. I think the key to the Bills is not, everybody knows they're a tough team.
Right.
It's a question, how do you hold your poise? Don't retaliate, which Cleveland did, and got nailed a couple of times. And, you know, it's grace under pressure time.
We asked these very same questions, too, of the Bills' offensive and defensive coordinators. Here's the answer that came from Jim Ringo.
They're a very, very physical football team. One of the things that we have viewed as viewing the tapes, we feel they have very fine team speed, their concept as well, and there are a tough group of men playing the sport. That's why they are where they are. We have not met a team that has line speed, linebacker speed, and secondary speed. Viewing the films against the teams they have played against thus far, we find that they can close a lot of things. They have very good closing speed. We have to be sure that we cut off some of that pursuit, be able to enable us to stay with our blocks a little bit longer and to be as tough as they are, but not to reciprocate in some of the things that they do. In other words, be smart enough to play our game and not play their game. Emotionally in control of your own emotions. The thing gets out of perspective because it is the playoff time. And these men get themselves to a point, they're higher than they were the previous, any time during the season, and they will play with a lot of emotions. And sometimes you cannot control your emotions, which we have to do to play smart.
Oh, there's a very good answer to that, I'm sure. And we got another question from the audience. Bob?
Thanks very much, Rick. We have a question for both Bill and Ernie, which concerns money.
Tom Swart from Clarence Center. Wondering how the winner's share from the AFL champion in '65 compares to this year's potential winning for the AFC champions, dollar-wise, for each player.
What an embarrassing question. I can remember one championship game. We got, the winners got $500 and the losers got $300, and the Internal Revenue Service guy was right there in the dressing room collecting his share.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, I don't want to think about it. Oh, my goodness.
For doing the same thing in a day's work,
It just breaks my heart.
How about you, Bill?
Well, I believe that the winner's share in this game is $10,000. And then I think as you advance to the championship game, the winner's share there is $18,000, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked at it very recently, to tell you the truth. Those figures are low by the standards of the World Series and the League Championship Series in Major League Baseball, and I think low by the standards of basketball, if I'm not mistaken, but I haven't checked very recently. One thing's for sure, although the amounts may be different, the Internal Revenue Service man's still around. That hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed at all. All right, let's go to hear what the thoughts of defensive coordinator Walt Corey are on this upcoming game in the Houston Oilers.
I would have to say they probably rank right up there with Cincinnati. The offensive lines are very comparable. I think their wide receivers are, just like Cincinnati's. They're scary. They get great running backs and they got great depth. in the running back position. The running backs are very good because they're great cutback runners. You know, with Rozier and Pinkett and Highsmith, and you know, they can get outside on you quick, and they can change fields on you. They can change direction. Their wide receivers are excellent. They're two inside receivers, that Givens particularly, and Drew. Very good. I think you got to play them head to head, and I think field position is very important against a team like this. I think if you can make them go 80 yards, you got a better shot than if they catch you inside the 50 or on the 50. If they have to use the whole length of the field, I think you got a little bit more options as far as what you can do, and you can play with them a little bit. But they're explosive. When you play a guy like Warren Moon, you have to take into consideration the guy. You have to control and contain his movement. He can get out and run very effectively. I don't think he wants to run, but he can do it. I think in a game like this, you got to be very concerned about that.
All right, Larry, how about the comments that Walt Corey just made? Do you think the success and/or failure for the Bills this Sunday rests squarely on the shoulders of the defense, or not?
I wouldn't say, you know, there is no win or lose, particularly on the defense, but they can turn the game around. Last week, for instance, against Cleveland, Warren Moon was intercepted 3 times, and Cleveland did not have a good pass rush at all. The field, part of the field had something to do with it because the footing was bad. If Warren Moon is intercepted this week 3 times, they're going to chase the Oilers right out in the middle of Lake Erie. And it could happen because Buffalo is a lot better pass rush than Cleveland, and I think on the rug they might be able to get after Moon.
What about the responsibility of the offense in this game, Ernie? I know that's near and dear to your heart.
Well, I think the offense has to put some points on the board.
Early, quick, fast?
Well, that would help.
Yeah.
It would certainly help because, you know, so many times the offense goes out, 1, 2, 3, punt, 1, 2, 3, punt. And then the defense is, as the teams change, you can hear the defense saying, for Christ's sake, score.
Yeah, do something.
Do something.
Get some points up there.
Right, and I think that is essential, that if they can put some points on the board early, it would help turn this game around.
Okay.
And I think they're fully capable of winning it.
All right. What about Marv's insistence, very quickly, Bill, on keeping this team as near normal to the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, or 5th week of the season?
He's done it all year. Ups and downs, loss of a player here, suspension there. Marv Levy's kept this team on even keel. He's given them the poise and the will to win and the ability to win. And we're going to just dance with what brung us. Keep doing what we did.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment.
Well, it's going to be real exciting. You know, like you just said, there hasn't been a playoff game in Buffalo in a long time. This is my first playoff game. You know, it's kind of the thrill of the unexpected. You really don't know what to expect. You know it's going to be a fierce game with a lot of action and all that, and you just look forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Hi, I'm Scott Norwood for Colonial and West Seneca Ford. You know, I'm always looking to make extra points, and you probably are too. If you want to drive a new car or truck, and you want the lowest monthly payments, consider leasing from Colonial or West Seneca Ford. You can lease from the entire line of Ford family of cars and trucks. I think you really get a kick out of leasing.
Register to win a year's lease on a Ford Escort, member of Ford Authorized Leasing System.
some closing thoughts about the Bills-Oiler game on Sunday from head coach Marv Levy.
We just want our players to play as hard as they can, within the rules, and not do anything dumb while they're out there. First of all, when you go into the playoffs, everybody you play is strong, and it is harder to do whatever you've done during the course of the year. You want to make a decision then, well, we can't do what we've done, so let's do something we haven't practiced or done all year. Let's do something that's foreign to them. Let's surprise them. It's like surprising a Russian tank brigade with bows and arrows. I mean, you better show up with your tanks even though they know you have tanks.
Don't worry, the Buffalo Bills will show up with the tanks on Sunday afternoon. Thank you very much to Bills General Manager Bill Polian, to Larry Felser, to Ernie Warlick, Bob Kaczynski, Mark Cooper, and to the people from the Buffalo Bills Booster Club. Thanks so much for being with us. And I'm sure you will all root very, very hard for the Bills on Sunday. And this closing tribute to the Buffalo Bills for the season they have had and the hopes for the very immediate future, as put together by sports producer Brenda Brennan.
Each day I live, I want to be a day to give the best of me. I'm only one, but not alone. My finest day is yet unknown. I broke my heart for every game to taste the sweet. I face the pain. I rise and fall. Yet through it all, this much remains. I want one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be. When all of my dreams are a heartbeat away, and the answers are all up to me. Give me one moment in time when I'm racing with destiny. Then in that one moment of time, I will feel eternity. I've lived to be the very best. I want it all.
Coming up on Eyewitness News Nightcast.
Cheektowaga Town Councilman Thomas Johnson tells his side. I'm David Collin, and I'll have that story.
Also tonight, an I-Team report on an alleged cover-up by an Orchard Park police officer.
But as the crew of Discovery will tell you, it's the only way you ever get anything off the ground. Richard Threlkeld, ABC News, New York.
That's our report on World News Tonight. Peter Jennings will be back next week. I'm Sam Donaldson. Good night, and have a Happy New Year.
This has been a presentation of ABC News, where more Americans get their news than from any other source.
ABC Sports kicks off the new year with the 100th Tournament of Roses Parade. Then Oklahoma meets Clemson in the Florida Citrus Bowl. And it's back to Pasadena as USC tackles Michigan in the Rose Bowl game. And finally, the USF&G Sugar Bowl presents Florida State against Auburn. All Monday on ABC Sports.
You never know who's watching. It might be Anthony Moore and the I-Team. If you have information on suspected wrongdoing, call 842-0770.
Toyotathon 89. Day 5 is incredible.
To meet their sales goal, Toyota dealers are doing whatever it takes. Listen.
We told the salesman what we were prepared to pay. He laughed, and 3 hours later, we drove up a lot with the car we wanted at the price we asked.
Now's the time to get the savings and the deal you want.
Finance your new Toyota on the spot. We'll be open late, so come on in.
It's the biggest sales event of the year. Toyotathon 89.
Going on now.
50% off. Incredible! Pickaway cuts prices by 50% on selected winter styles for the entire family. That's right, 50% off Pickaway's already low prices on selected winter footwear for boys and girls, women's shoes and boots, men's dress and casual shoes, athletic shoes for the entire family. Not all shoes are on sale, but the selection is sensational. And at half price, you can actually buy 2 pair for the price of 1. Pickaway Shoes, 50% off shoe sale, open New Year's Day.
Look what's happening tonight on Channel 7 Buffalo. Something's happening on Channel 7.
America, a land of promise. A land built on the spirit to never give up. And that spirit exists here in Buffalo. It's a spirit of pride. It's a spirit of determination, of ever-expanding horizons, and the spirit to protect the Constitution. It's a spirit of victory, a spirit that soon might make history. In the next half hour, you'll see the remarkable story of a team and its community, and how both overcame unbearable suffering to become a city of champions.
Hey there, it's me, Richard Simmons. Listen, are you sick and tired of boring look-alike exercise videos with synthesized elevator music and a lineup of leotard-clad Stepford wives? Well, if you are, honey, have I got the cure for you. This is my brand new aerobic workout tape, Sweating to the Oldies. And if you don't like having fun, well, you best not come in here. Whoa! Sweating to the Oldies is pure enjoyment. You won't hear any wall-to-wall instructional chatter on this tape, but you will hear all of my favorite heart-thumping tunes from the 50s and 60s. If you're trying to lose weight and you want to keep your heart in great shape, just try sweating to these classics. I made this tape with everyone in mind, for you beginners out there to those of you who are already in great shape. So if you're looking for a lively, entertaining, stimulating, humorous, colorful, frolicking, playful, inspiring, safe, low-impact workout that's full of kicks, thrills, gusto, fervor, passion, fury, bustle, and action, you don't have to look any further. This is it. Wow! Yay! So come on, what are you waiting for? Come join the party!
At just $39.95, Sweatin' to the Oldies is the hottest selling workout tape in America. It's not sold or rented in any store, so you must call this toll-free number to order your copy. 1-800-535-4600. That's 1-800-535-4600. From Ain't No Mountain High Enough to Beyond the Sea, Sweatin' to the Oldies is jam-packed with 45 minutes of your favorite 50s and 60s hits. So call 1-800-535-4600.
The country are starting to notice that something is happening in Buffalo. Recent articles in Forbes magazine and the Wall Street Journal have highlighted Buffalo's economic renaissance, while the Sporting News magazine and Sports Illustrated have been extolling the virtues of the Buffalo Bills. So we offer this program in gratitude and appreciation for the proud people of the city and the powerful Buffalo Bills, and to acknowledge the thought-provoking similarities between the rebirth of both. A fitting symbol for Western New York, the powerful Niagara Falls. As we turn towards the 21st century, the power and influence of this part of the country is starting to be felt nationwide. Something's happening here. Something's changing. Something some thought would never happen, but it has. There's a new look to our town. We're moving forward. The dark days are over, and the talk now is of victory. The Buffalo Bills are back, and the sky's the limit. We're winning everywhere. There's hope for the future. Business is turning it around, and it's a whole new ball game. Buffalo is back. Buffalo is now one of the leading cities in the nation in the fields of research, medicine, and in our support of the arts. The nation's best-kept secret is a secret no longer. Our greatness is gathering national headlines. The city and the team looking outrageously good. But this is not the first time Buffalo has been number one.
I think if there's one word to describe Buffalo's past, it would be commerce. It would be business. It was Buffalo's activity, its busyness, starting with the opening of the Erie Canal in 1825, that characterized a growth in which Buffalo became one of the top 10 largest cities in the United States. With this growth, you had an enormous amount of economic activity on the waterfront, with the Great Lakes shipping, with the manufacturing, with Buffalo being a virtual port for railroads, for the boats, for the shipping. It was a type of commerce, a type of activity that was celebrated with the Pan American Exposition back in 1901, in which Buffalo was showing the world that it was one of the top cities on the planet. Commerce basically is the word to describe Buffalo's past.
The Bills were also once number one. 23 years ago, championship fever filled the hearts of Buffalonians, as the Bills of the mid-1960s were simply the best of the American Football League. Such names as Kemp, Gilchrist, Sestak, Shaw, Dubinion, and Joel were household names in the Queen City, and we were proud. It was some team. Confident, aggressive, knowing that any time they tried, success was possible. They were the type of team who could change seeming disaster into an opportunity. They just kept coming at you, unwilling to accept defeat. They kept their eyes on their goals and went for them. Tough, gritty, and unwilling to go down, they were champions, not once, but twice. In 1964 and 65, they crushed the opposition. A time and a team of destiny who left failure in their wake. But it would be the last time they would win a league championship. By the early 1980s, the team had bottomed out. In the past, where there had been success, there now were setbacks. And more setbacks. We started to lose our confidence, and the game became especially brutal. We became vulnerable and weak. Each week, it only got worse. Losing became a way of life. It was to be expected. No matter how hard we tried, we were all too often pushed back from our goals. Frustration set in. There was self-doubt. A feeling of hopelessness. A feeling of not being capable of winning. Bethlehem Steel, which for years had been one of the economic foundations of our community, closed during that same year. Honest, hard-working individuals lost their jobs forever. It was the worst time since the Great Depression. We were devastated. Unemployment was the norm. And many didn't know why they had to suffer so much.
We don't know nothing. Nothing. We don't have the faintest idea what's going on. Just that you're going to be out of work pretty soon. That's it. You're going out in the street and take it from there.
It's been very hard, and I feel as though it affected my husband very much. By him having 14 years there, his job is being eliminated. I'm currently on disability, and with no money just from those things and trying to make ends meet, that's hard.
Many proud families now had to face agonizing and uncertain futures. But something started to happen. Because the people of Buffalo had been fighting back. They came together with a common goal, to rebuild. The team and the city were both determined to come back.
People can draw a parallel between the rise of the Buffalo Bills and the renaissance that's going on in the greater Buffalo area. In a lot of ways, it's a major coincidence in that many of the things that have been going into the renaissance in Buffalo are building blocks that began even a decade ago with people thinking and dreaming, and now they're coming to a realization. At the same time, you have the Bills and Mr. Wilson making a commitment to a competitive and a very challenging team in the National Football League.
Vince Lombardi was a great football coach because he concentrated on the fundamentals of blocking and tackling. I think that's true in life. That's what we've been concentrating on for the past 5 years. I think that the economy is going better because a lot of people have paid a lot of attention to fundamentals.
I'm very proud of the stories I hear about the 2-14 team and the 2-14 community. The community and the team itself appreciated where they were when they were down and were intolerant of that, and they rolled up their sleeves like a gritty, if you will, what Buffalo does. They rolled up their sleeves and went out and started winning some ball games.
Well, one thing that made it happen in the early 80s, I think the city simply got down so far that real estate values, land values, made it virtually certain that sooner or later something was going to happen in the downtown area.
Well, I think we are what we are because of who we are. And traditionally, Buffalonians have been tough. Well, there certainly are parallels between the Buffalo Bills and the city, sort of a microcosm. The Bills are now emerging as a winning team, not because they did something last week, but because they've just worked very hard in building the team. And Buffalo has worked very hard similarly.
The month of August in 1986 was really the benchmark for both entities. Jim Kelly was signed as the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, and at the same time the University of Buffalo received a $50 million matching grant for the creation of the National Earthquake Engineering Center. And that made people around the country take notice. We could be spending millions trying to
tell the Buffalo story around the United States, and we couldn't do it as well as having a winning NFL football team where our name and specials on Buffalo appear regularly in the press.
And the lift you get is tremendous, and as in life, it's if one believes one can create a result, that's a major step toward doing it. The sports teams help us in that way.
I think presently the economic atmosphere in the city of Buffalo is one that is growing for African Americans, especially those African Americans who have taken it upon themselves to coalesce themselves with groups, come together and collectively in terms of bringing their dollars together and approaching the type of businesses they're looking for. And I think, like the Bills, they saw hard times, but they kept their eye on the focus of the tunnel, and they pursued their dream through that tunnel.
The power was returning and became relentless. And united as one, they moved closer and closer to removing the pain of the past. Buffalo had come back. No one would ever look at the team and the city in the same way. There's a new feeling in Buffalo.
Could be, who knows? There's something due any day. I will know right away, soon as it shows. It'd make 'em cannonballing down through the sky, gleaming its eye bright as a rose. Who knows? It's only just out of reach, down the block on a beach, under a tree. I got a feeling there's a miracle due, gonna come true, coming to me. Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good. If I can wait, something's coming. I don't know what it is, but it is gonna be great. With a click, with a shock, phone'll jingle, door'll knock. Open the latch, something's coming, don't know when, but it soon. Catch the moon, one-handed catch. Around the corner, or whistling down the river. Come on, deliver to me. Will it be? Yes, it will. Maybe just by holding still, it'll be there. Come on, something, come on in. Don't be shy, meet a guy, pull up a chair. The air is humming, and something great is coming. Who knows? It's only just out of reach, down the block on a beach. Maybe tonight, maybe tonight, maybe tonight.
Champion TV Appliance and Furniture Rental is just in time for football season with a great special on color TVs. Come into any Champion location and save 50% on your first month's rental on any TV in the store. 50% on high-quality brand names like Zenith and RCA. And remember, a TV from Champion is such a good picture, you'll think you're at the game. Yo, Peanuts! Thanks. Champion TV Appliance and Furniture Rentals. You've got a friend in the rental business.
Please, Spirit, no more. Can't we make a deal?
Did somebody say deal? You want Spirit? Come into your Dodge dealer's big year-end sales drive. Get big cash back on Ram Tough full-size pickups, mid-size Dakotas. Deals on imports, too. Hurry, this could end... Hey!
That's not in the script. What's the deal?
Did somebody say deal?
See your nearby Team Dodge dealer where their new spirit shows.
After 20 years outside in the weather, there's nothing Tom Joles hasn't experienced. But even bad weather seems good when it comes from Western New York's most experienced weatherman.
It does make for great snowballs.
Because with Tom Joles, AccuWeather isn't just a forecast.
Sunshine around Western New York.
It's an experience.
It looks like rain through tomorrow.
You are right about that. Okay, line up 2 by 2 and no smoking.
Tom Joles and AccuWeather, the experience shows.
Oh, I don't like the looks of this.
Bill's Jets program here. It had been a long time. The team and the city had been through a lot, and now we came hoping, because we were so close to fulfilling our dream. It was more than just a game. In a way, it was a crusade. A crusade for our pride as a community. Like a family we came, seeking our destiny and challenging it. It was an unforgettable moment in time, indelibly etched in our memories. In this story of ironies, it's interesting to note that, in a way, this game embodied the spirit and history of Buffalo in microcosm. It was a struggle. And the battle began. The weather inclement, the enemy determined not to let our dream come true that afternoon, and was making us pay the price. The rain increased, and we responded. And so did the Jets' defense. Emotions ran high. At times, the emotions ran too high. The violence was intense, and the drama increased. Every time we moved, the Jets fought back. And so it went, back and forth. But our injuries mounted as the Jets' punishment took its toll. And they kept scoring. The momentum was changing in their favor. No matter what we tried, we couldn't hold a lead. It was at this darkest moment, when the game seemed about to be lost, that it happened again. A determination, a spirit not to give up. It was in the stands and in the hearts of the Bills players. The Jets thought the game was won. They underestimated the spirit of Buffalo, and that was fatal. We didn't give up at the crucial moment. As Scott Norwood took center stage, a new page in history was written. A city of losers was now a city of winners. It was as if we had been freed from our past to move toward the future. We were free. Moving from here together as a team and as a city, we will build for tomorrow. And yet, we will always remember the brave contributions of those who came before us, who taught us how to be a city of champions.
The time, until January 4th. The event, your good neighbor Chevrolet dealer's year-end sale. The deals, up to $1,000 cash back, up to $1,900 in option discounts. Optional automatic transmission at no extra charge on Cavaliers. Over 5,500 vehicles available. The bottom line, tremendous savings and selection. The year-end sale ends January 4th at your good neighbor Chevrolet dealer.
The weekend is your time to do what you like. Relax, socialize, spend time with the family. But you still want to know what's happening around you. That's where Eyewitness News fits in your weekend schedule. Warren Williams keeps you current with those important stories when they break. Mark Cooper brings the sports action home. And count on Lori Lasowski for your weekend weather forecast. Make your weekend complete. Watch Warren Williams, Mark Cooper, and Lori Lasowski on Eyewitness News.
This year, Channel 7 launched A Cry for Life, featuring the Someone's Child and Drug-Free America videos and concerts. This campaign quickly spread, reaching young people all across the country. Groups such as the National Commission for Drunk Driving and the White House singled out WKBW TV as a leader in the nation's fight against drug and alcohol abuse. This holiday season, Channel 7 asks you, consider the consequences. Please don't drink and drive.
Central referral. I need help. It's not easy being young. You or a friend may face problems such as teen pregnancy or drug or alcohol abuse. Do you need help solving communication problems with your parents or need information about a job? Call Central Referral Service, a United Way agency, for free confidential information about these and other services.
When you need help but don't know who to call, Central Referral Service is your direct connection.
The Bills do believe in themselves, and they're fighters and they're scrappers, and no matter how far down they are, they believe they can come back, and they have come back. And I think to some considerable degree, that exists in Buffalo. Buffalo's beginning to believe in itself, and the rest of the country is beginning to believe that Buffalo is hot.
Absolutely. I think the sports teams, the Bisons, the Sabres, and the Bills are all coming back. It's almost a function of the rebirth of the city. I think it may just be coincidence, but I like to think that the sports clubs are all playing a major part in the rebirth of Buffalo.
Just as the Bills have developed the various components of its organization to become a winning football team, the Chamber's Minority Business Council...
Please, Spirit, no more. Can't we make a deal?
Did somebody say deal? You want Spirit? Come into your Dodge dealer's big year-end sales drive. Get big cash back on selected Dodges, 2 sporty Dodges, or practical Dodges. Deals on Dynasties, too. Hurry, this could end... Hey!
That's not in the script. What's the deal?
Did somebody say deal?
See your nearby Team Dodge dealer where their new Spirit shows.
They were world champs, incredibly gifted athletes, but they threw it all away for drugs.
I look at the big picture, it's cost me over $3 million.
I believe that I was hooked the first time I tried it.
This was the most serious thing that ever happened to me in my life.
It's playing hardball with life, and you're going to lose.
Mercury Morris, Spencer Haywood, Steve Howe, and Dwight Gooden. Superstar athletes and drugs on the next Geraldo.
Monday morning at 9 on Channel 7.
Hi, this is Karen Fritz from Kamizama, Japan. Wishing Mom and Dad and all of New York a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
From our servicemen and women overseas, Channel 7 brings the spirit of the Christmas season home to Western New York.
Hubbard Weinstein, a wild weekend for Buffalo.
The Depew chief of police gets credit for the unarmed arrest of an armed robbery suspect who's believed responsible for a series of robberies in Cheektowaga and Depew. We'll have the full story and all the news for you tonight at 11.
Win, Lose, or Draw is a Bert and Bert production in association with Klein and Friends.
For over 2 decades, his voice has moved our hearts and stirred our souls. He's America's greatest singer-songwriter, Neil Diamond. Now, for the first and only time, 30 of Neil's greatest hits are together in a single magnificent collection from Silver Eagle Records.
I know when I was young, you are the sun, I am the moon, you are the words, I am the tune, play me. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. Song sung blue, like a willow, Kentucky woman.
The ultimate Neil Diamond collection. The sound that's earned him dozens of gold and platinum records. 30 hits on 3 LPs or 2 cassettes, $16.95. 2 CDs, $21.95. Call now.
To order U.S. or Canadian credit card customers, call 1-800-225-6565. That's 1-800-225-6565. Or save COD charges and send just $16.95 for 3 albums or 2 cassettes. Or $21.95 for 2 compact discs, plus $3.50 shipping and handling too. Neil Diamond Box 206, Orchard Park, New York. Canadian orders add $3.
Coming Monday, January 9th at 7:30 on Channel 4. The following News 4 Sports special presentation is brought to you by the United Food and Commercial Workers, District Union Local 1. International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 41. Pizza Hut. Nissan. And Gold Dome. For my money, it's Gold Dome.
In early September, the expectations were high. The Bills were on the brink of something special. As the wins piled up, a hero surfaced each week. Scott Norwood, Bruce Smith, Cornelius Bennett, Andre Reed, Rob Riddick, and Thurman Thomas. And leading the way, Jim Kelly. Marv Levy's troops now begin a second season, one they hope will be Super Bowl bound.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Super Bowl Bound. A special look at the Bills as they head for the 1988 playoffs. In the next half hour, Glenn Walker will preview Sunday's opponent, the Houston Oilers. Brian Blessing will take a look at the man who built this football machine, Bill Polian. Jackie Walker will look at our team's greatest weapon, the fans. We'll also talk playoffs with Fred Smerlas, and Cornelius Bennett will tell us who wins the Hitter of the Year award. But first, I think the regular season deserves a look as we travel the road to the playoffs. The early season expectations were confirmed right from the beginning. The season opening win over Minnesota set the theme for the entire year: tough defense and the foot of Scott Norwood. With a 4-0 record, the Bills faced an early season showdown with the Chicago Bears that proved to be more of a letdown than a showdown. Jim Kelly spent most of the day looking up at Richard Dent, and the Bills lost 24-3.
The following week, a home game against the Colts, and the Bills fell behind 17-0. But Kelly fought back, throwing 3 touchdown passes, sparking a 34-23 win that began a 7-game winning streak. A streak that concluded with a division-clinching win over the Jets, and a scene most Bills fans will never forget. So what are the odds that the Bills can make it all the way to the Super Bowl? Well, the guys in the back room at Vegas see it this way. Notice the Bills 20-1 in the preseason. Now they're down to 3-1. Look at the Bengals. They were a 30-1 shot. Now they are the shortest odds, 2-1. And wouldn't it be something if the Bengals and the Bills wound up playing in Cincinnati next week with a winner going on to the Super Bowl? But first, the Bills have to worry about Coach Jerry Glanville and that gang of Oilers when they come to town Sunday in what may be the best talented team in the NFL, the Houston Oilers. They have a Pro Bowl quarterback. They have a corral of solid runners and receivers, a very tough, hard-hitting defense, and a coach who is never blue but always black. Glenn Walker went to Texas for a look at the Houston Oilers.
In the age of parity, the men on the sidelines have become stars, and Jerry Glanville is one coach whose star is rising. Always dressed in black, he looks the part of the outlaw, and his team is an extension of that persona. Last week in Cleveland, he led the Glanville gang into a wild card showdown, decked out in a black Western duster.
Well, the stage was set, the sun was sinking low down, as they came to town to face another showdown.
That's my favorite color. I just like to wear my favorite. I'm glad my favorite color wasn't pink. Something that would look bad.
It was 3 years ago that Jerry Glanville became the Oilers' new head coach, taking over a football team that was no place going nowhere. That's when his team began to earn a new reputation, a reputation that earned a new nickname for the Astrodome. Around Houston, this place is known as the House of Pain.
Aggressiveness, gang tackling, 11 helmets on the ball. You know, if any part of the body of the ball carrier sticking out, somebody got to hit it.
Intimidation. It has become the Oilers' trademark. But behind the taunts, the elbows, the push, the shove is a solid football team.
I think we play aggressive football, and I don't think it's dirty at all.
Do you think you may stretch it just a little bit?
You know, sometimes it might look like a gray area or whatever, but that's just the way it is.
If aggressive is a one-word description of the Oilers' defense and special teams, then efficient describes the offense. Working behind a huge offensive line that averages 293 pounds, quarterback Warren Moon has a number of weapons. Led by Mike Rozier, there are a number of high draft picks in the backfield. And Moon has a strong arm equal to Jim Kelly.
Well, we're a different personality on our side of the ball. We're more low-keyed. We're more into execution and just getting our hat on the right guy and doing what we're supposed to do.
Realistically, we're really like 45 choir boys just trying to get the job done.
Those tough Houston Oilers. Well, what about the man behind the Bills? You know, General Manager Bill Polian has taken this team from NFL oblivion to the top of the AFC. When Buffalo takes the field Sunday, 32 players will represent Polian's term as general manager. Brian Blessing has more on the Bills' chief architect.
The toughest part of being a general manager in the National Football League has to be handling the constant roller coaster of emotions, the peaks and valleys. And Bill Polian has traveled both the high and low roads with the Buffalo Bills.
And we're waiting now for the star of the show, and there he is, Jim Kelly.
The Bills went from the practice field to the picket line.
I just stuck the phone in my ear, and we came up okay, I think.
I think it points up clearly to all of us the terrible danger that drugs present to our society.
For Bill Polian, the good days by far outnumber the bad days, and these are the best days of all.
It's fun to be here. It's what you play for. It's what you want to do. It's the goal that you set every season when you begin training camp, or really if you're out of the playoffs. You and I talked a year ago, and we said on December 27th, 1988 begins. And so you aim for the spot, and it's nice to be here, but once you're here, you want to advance.
Should the Bills lose on Sunday, it's a safe bet that Sunday night, Bill Polian will be in his office looking ahead to next year to find the ways to get the Bills to the Super Bowl. Above all, the Bills GM is a no-holds-barred, bottom-line guy.
I'm not offending any of our players when I say we're not as talented a team as the Houston Oilers, but or maybe some others. But that feeling of camaraderie, that feeling of family, that feeling of togetherness has taken us a long way. And hopefully, with a great effort, it can take us a little further.
Having made such great strides in a short period of time, what gives Bill Polian his greatest source of personal satisfaction?
I think the fact that the team is in the playoffs now, after so many years, is a great source of satisfaction. And more, I think, for those of us who lived through all the bad times here, the 2 and 14s, and particularly for Mr. Wilson and his family, because he made a tremendous commitment and he's given us such great support. And to see him happy and fulfilled, at least to this point, is perhaps the greatest source of pride.
Bill Polian desperately wants a win on Sunday, and he doesn't care whose feathers he'll ruffle to get that W.
Let it snow, let it sleet, let it snow. That's right. Chamber of Commerce, take a hike.
Coming up next, Fred Smerlas makes a return to the playoffs. We'll get his feelings on that in Fred's football philosophy. But first, who's the Bills' most valuable player in 1980?
Bruce Smith, because he's had quite a few sacks, and he's probably about the mainstay of the team.
Scott Norwood won because he won a few games for him, led the league in scoring. Great kicker.
You agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Jim Kelly, he's a big leader. Without him, I don't think the team would be 12-4, not at all.
Reason number 22 to see your Nissan dealer before January 4th. For nearly $450 less than Toyota, you can own the bigger, more powerful two-wheel drive Nissan Hardbody. The Goodbye 88 celebration. See your Nissan dealer now. Reason number 3 to see your Nissan dealer before January 4th. Dealer cash incentives up to $3,000 can put you in a new Nissan in a hurry. The Goodbye 88 celebration. See your Nissan dealer now.
For great art, it's the Albright Knox. For great kielbasa, it's the Broadway Market. For great rates, it's Gold Dome. Gold Dome guarantees a high rate of return with more ways to save, like tax-saving CDs and extra interest CDs. Here's Gold Dome's current high rate. To find out more, come in or call Gold Dome Quickline. For great steaks, it's Lord Chumley's. For great rates, it's Gold Dome.
Gold Dome, your financial home.
Hello, I'm Joe Tallarico, President of the United Food and Commercial Workers District Union Local 1. On behalf of our 40,000 members in upstate New York, I'd like to wish you and your family a joyful holiday season and a safe and prosperous new year. I'd also like to extend a special holiday greeting to our good union employers who year-round provide our members with the best wages, benefits, and working conditions.
Daddy, what's a union?
Now, where did that come from?
Are they good or bad?
Well, I belong to a union. All the men and women at my job joined a union to help get better pay and a safer place to work.
That's what a union does?
Well, sure.
Then why isn't everybody in a union?
Well, maybe everybody doesn't know as much as you do.
Oh, Daddy.
The IBEW, lighting up your life in Western New York.
Freddie Smerlas is one of 4 Bills who played under Chuck Knox in the 1981 postseason. So what's it like to be back in the playoffs? Well, that's the topic we tackle with that crazy guy on Fred's Football Philosophy. You haven't played in a playoff game since '81, Fred. In a violent sport, you are still going at it. You're having a career year. What are your thoughts and feelings going into this playoff game?
Do I ever tell anyone your age, man? Well, the thoughts of, I think the thoughts of most of the guys who've been around here for a while is, it's been a long time, will it ever happen again? And if, you know, you have to take the shot while you get it. And this, you know, it may happen for 10 years in a row, like some teams, but it may not happen for another 8 years. So you have to make everyone on the team aware of how long and how hard it is to get to this particular point and what it takes to get here and what it means
take your best shot.
Does the preparation differ any the week before a playoff game than it does before a regular season game?
It's been 81 since I prepared for one, man. I don't know. We'll find out this week.
How do the coaches approach a game like this? Any differently? Are they more intense with you guys?
Well, they're so nervous they haven't been able to talk all week. They teach a lot like this.
Fred, can you sleep before a game?
Yeah, I sleep all the time. Me and Jimmy Richards, my roommate, we talk about everything. We talk about everyone on the team. We talk about all the media people. We talk about the coaches. We talk about everything.
What time do you get up in the morning on game day?
7:30. Mob wakes us up at 7:30, but me and Jim get up at 7:45.
Oh, yeah.
We sneak that extra 15 in there.
What do you have to eat before a game?
Yeah, I eat small goats and cars, you know.
There is only one Fred Smirlis. Thank goodness for that. Okay, up next, Cornelius Bennett crowns his hitter of the year, so stay with us.
I think Kelly improved over last year, the season that we had. I think Kelly did improve a lot.
Oh, I think it's got to be Thurman Thomas. I mean, second-round pick, and guy came in there, did a good job.
Norwood. I really didn't think he was going to kick as well as he's doing. I think he's really doing terrific.
Hello, I'm Joe Tallarico, President of the United Food and Commercial Workers District Union Local 1. On behalf of our 40,000 members in upstate New York, I'd like to wish you and your family a joyful holiday season and a safe and prosperous new year. I'd also like to extend a special holiday greeting to our good union employers who year-round provide our members with the best wages, benefits, and working conditions.
The kick is up. It is good. The Bills win the division championship in overtime. A full-color action photo souvenir of the Bills Super Year is waiting for you at Pizza Hut. Buy your official $88.89 Bills calendar and any large pizza and receive $2 off just by telling them the Bills sent you. Pizza Hut and the Bills, making it great by donating a portion of the calendar proceeds to help our Special Olympians.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Western New York. Whether you're working, shopping, or dining out, going to school, banking, or even watching sports, you'll be glad we were there. We've made your lives a little brighter and safer, and we're proud of it. We're Local 41 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, putting a little light in your life in Western New York. The IBEW, the Union of Hearts and Minds.
Reason number 11 to see your Nissan dealer before January 4th. The 12-valve, fuel-injected, overhead cam Nissan Sentra for under $7,000. The Goodbye 88 celebration. See your Nissan dealer now. Reason number 3 to see your Nissan dealer before January 4th. Dealer cash incentives up to $3,000 can put you in a new Nissan in a hurry. The Goodbye 88 celebration. See your Nissan dealer now.
Okay, who's the hardest hitter on the Bills' defense? Bruce Smith? Shane Conlon? Leonard Smith? We put the question to Cornelius Bennett, and his choice for hitter of the year may surprise you. All season long, Tuesday night 11 here on Channel 4, Cornelius Bennett has co-hosted his hit of the week, and we have seen some great hits. As a matter of fact, only 2 players on the team had more than one. The co-host here, my man Cornelius Bennett and Mark Pike, who had some sensational hits. As a matter of fact, they were so great that Cornelius is about to award the Hitter of the Year plaque to Mark Pike of the Bills. Go ahead, partner.
This Pike, Mark Pike.
Mister.
Yeah, well, have to call a guy like this Mister, but it reads Cornelius Bennett, 1988, Hit of the Year, Mark Pike, News 4 Sports. This is Mark Pike.
Okay. Well, what's your reaction, first of all, Mark?
Oh, it's a big thrill, and especially getting it from a guy like Cornelius. I played against Cornelius for a couple years in college, and he's the kind of guy that, as an opponent, I really respected and had a great deal of admiration from. And it's really special getting it from a guy like that, and I'm glad we're teammates now.
I want you to see if you can recall those 3 hits that you made that Cornelius picked out. Do you remember them in order?
I remember 2 of them real clear. One was against Pittsburgh, and the other was against the Patriots. And just a great thrill, just something that I never broke stride and just ran right through the guy.
All right, what do you do to get down the field to make a ferocious hit like that? What's the game plan for you?
Well, I'm coming down the middle of the field most of the time. I guess I'm considered a wedge buster, and I just try and get a big jump. And a lot of guys, I guess I kind of have a big heart, and I just want to run down hard. And I beat some of the guys with a lot better speed than I do. I get down the field first, and that's my main objective.
Aren't you glad you don't have to block this guy?
Yes, you know, I think, like Mark said, you know, it's just that he have a big heart and want to get down the field and make those big hits. And because, you know, he's a backup player and really doesn't get a chance to play much on defense. And special teams is where he can really stand out, and I think he did a great job this year for us.
Hey, Cornelius, you know, if things got tough and they needed you to go in on special teams, you think you'd like to take a shot like Mark did?
Well, you know, Van, if it really boiled down to it, I would go in, but that's something that I would like to leave to Mark and those guys, you know, because I think, you know, those guys really that's their specialty, I think, and I'm a defensive standout on, you know, a quarterback rusher, not a wedge buster.
Yeah. Cornelius, what are you doing over on the sideline while these guys are out there working on those torpedo squads?
Well, I'm looking for the hit of the week because I'm following Mark down the field, but like Mark said, you know, I think they should be congratulated. The kickoff team has led the NFL in, you know, 2 consecutive years as the #1 kickoff team, allowing the fewest number of yards, and I think that's a great attribute to those guys.
Mark Pike, he is some hitter. Coming up next on Super Bowl Bound, the role you fans played in the Bills' success. You were great.
Well, they're really going to have to get by Houston. Houston's a really good team. If they can do that, they could beat Cincinnati.
Themselves. I think if they go in there with a good attitude, I think they can win.
Houston?
What about after that?
I don't know.
Reason number 12 to see your Nissan dealer before January 4th. The Nissan no money down first-time buyer plan makes it easy to drive away in a new Sentra. The Goodbye 88 celebration. See your Nissan dealer now. Reason number 3 to see your Nissan dealer before January 4th. Dealer cash incentives up to $3,000 can put you in a new Nissan in a hurry. The Goodbye 88 celebration. See your Nissan dealer now.
For great art, it's the Albright Knox. For great kielbasa, it's the Broadway Market. For great rates, it's Gold Dome. Gold Dome guarantees a high rate of return with more ways to save, like tax-saving CDs and extra interest CDs. Here's Gold Dome's current high rate. To find out more, come in or call Gold Dome Quickline. For great steaks, it's Lord Chumley's. For great rates, it's Gold Dome.
Gold Dome, your financial home.
Want a slice of pizza? Yeah.
Hey, me too.
Nothing's better than a fresh, hot Pizza Hut pizza, and nothing's worse than not having enough. That's why there's Pizza Hut Pairs, 2 medium pizzas starting at $9.99.
Ready for the second pizza?
Get Pizza Hut Pairs.
Making it great.
The kick is up, and it is good! It is good!
Count on News 4 to bring you the best of the Bills with Van Miller's report from the booth.
And this place is bedlam!
Glenn Walker covering every game, Brian Blessing with the best highlights, and Cornelius Bennett's Hit of the Week.
I tell you, it's a great feeling to be with Buffalo and Channel 4 also, baby.
Nobody covers the Bills like News 4.
All right, we haven't forgotten about you, the most important ingredient of all, the faithful fans. After all, you brave bad weather, rain, frigid temperatures, and still set an NFL attendance record. So we sent Jackie Walker out for the real story of the 1988 Bills, the fans of Western New York.
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels.
From the sunshine of September to the rains of October to the snows of December, Bills fans have been believers. With a record of support unmatched by any other team in the league, the Bills' 12th man has always come through.
26 years of this. It's worth it. It's worth it.
So it's fitting that the Bills' playoff game, which will put them on national television, will also give their fans a chance to share the spotlight. Bills fans from near and very far will get a taste of this game. Some 200 members of the news media will likely jam this press box. People from Sports Illustrated, Time, Newsweek, USA Today, even some European news agencies will be here. Imagine exposing football fans around the country, even around the world, to this crowd. It will send the message that we back the Bills in a big way here, but the crowd can also send the wrong message. The Bills front office wants to avoid a repeat of what happened after the division-clinching victory over the Jets. Players were stormed, equipment was damaged, and Buffalo came close to a black eye of national proportions. This is why the Bills are throwing on extra security for the playoffs, and you can bet the guards won't be waving fans onto the field this week. This way, the Bills administration hopes to protect the players and the fans, Buffalo's image, and those goalposts. And speaking of the Bills organization, ever wonder where the top Bill sits? Well, he doesn't actually sit. We understand that Ralph Wilson usually stands for most of the game in his private box. This is Ralph Wilson's suite on the 50-yard line, where food, drink, and instant replays are close at hand. While this may look like a pretty cozy way to watch a game, we understand that Ralph Wilson likes to have the window open so that he can get the feel of the game and hear the crowd noise. When it was 8 degrees during the Raiders game, the folks here in the Wilson box were all bundled up, just like the rest of us.
We got some long johns on, a couple pairs of sweatpants.
No matter how you dress for this big event, a playoff game in Rich Stadium will be something to see. Season ticket holders got the first crack at tickets and the best choice of seats. Still, there are those few thousand lucky fans who snapped up the leftover seats. Of course, you have a better view of the parking lots from up here than you do of the field. But think about it. In a seat like this, you'll know before anybody else in the stadium if it starts to snow.
Okay, Jackie, coming up next, the Bills finally get some respect, and we'll show you how.
Hello, I'm Joe Tallarico, President of the United Food and Commercial Workers District Union Local 1. On behalf of our 40,000 members in upstate New York, I'd like to wish you and your family a joyful holiday season and a safe and prosperous new year. I'd also like to extend a special holiday greeting to our good union employers who year-round provide our members with the best wages, benefits, and working conditions.
Western New York, where you live and work, its schools and its banks, the face of Western New York. What do all these buildings have in common? The electrical work was done by members of Local 41, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. You won't find our names on any plaque, but we were there, making your lives a little brighter and safer. And we're proud of it. The IBEW, putting a little light in your life in Western New York.
For great art, it's the Albright Knox. For great kielbasa, it's the Broadway Market. For great rates, it's Gold Dome. Gold Dome guarantees a high rate of return with more ways to save, like tax-saving CDs and extra interest CDs. Here's Gold Dome's current high rate. To find out more, come in or call Gold Dome Quickline. For great steaks, it's Lord Chumley's. For great rates, it's Gold Dome.
Gold Dome, your financial home.
The kick is up. It is good. The Bills win the division championship in overtime. A full-color action photo souvenir of the Bills Super Year is waiting for you at Pizza Hut. Buy your official $88.89 Bills calendar and any large pizza and receive $2 off just by telling them the Bills sent you. Pizza Hut and the Bills, making it great by donating a portion of the calendar proceeds to help our Special Olympians.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this look at the Bills going into the 1988 playoffs, and we invite you to stay with News 4 throughout the postseason for the very best in coverage of the Bills. Well, I've got my suntan lotion, and I tell you, I am ready for Miami, and you never know. Good night, and go Bills!
recommends caution watching big board sports. They've been known to cause racing hearts and shaking hands. Some viewers have complained of shooting pains or that run-down feeling, while others develop periods of lightheadedness. Van Miller on Big Board Sports, your sports leader. It's fun to watch, but keep your guard up. Nobody gives you more highlights than Big Board Sports.
Your New Year's forecast on the update.
Hey. Hey. Woo. Hey, guys. Just another couple hours, and we got ourselves a brand new spanking year. Ladies and gentlemen, up with people.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't mean to seem like a bunch of...
morbid, gloomy canker sores.
I was going to say gloomy gusses.
I know.
Well, after all, it is New Year's Eve.
Oh, I know it's tough working tonight, but think about what this really means to you.
Tippy-toeing around that festive vomit.
We're keeping this city